unclear? What are you? Analyzing personal identity and selfhood on the 3 levels of reality, we could say objectively, you are a multicellular organism. Each cell of your body is living and replicating for you to continue. Without a stable change of energy in and out of your body, you would die. And your body is made up mostly of water, carbon, and air. We are not one entity, we are legion. We are made up of human cells, but also interact with bacterial gardens in and outside our bodies. There is yet more in the interaction of our bodies with the environment. Subjectively, we often identify with the subjective self most. This is our psychological sense of self, the thinking, feeling, perspectival self, which appears to have consistency through time. The mind is dependent on the brain. An extreme difference is an active, aware person compared to a comatose person showing no sign of consciousness. From the comatose, we find connections to brain structures which generate conscious experience and tie our minds to our brains and bodies. It's interesting, right? But comatose people, we would say, are not conscious from every measure that we can tell, and they tend to have very specific regions of the brain which are damaged, which make us lose consciousness. Intersubjectively, well, subjectively we blend with intersubjectivity where we have our internal views of what people will think if. It is our view of social norms and values. There is also the outside perspective of ourselves from other people, how we fit into the broader context of society. The definition of Ubuntu philosophy, which I like, is I am because we are, Ubuntu. In this way, an echo of us lives on as long as we are in the minds of others. All 3 of these views of personal identity have issues of continuity and boundaries. Objectively, we have the old question of the ship of Theseus. Parts of us are exchanged with the environment until none of our original body is the same. Subjectively, we lose memories and gain new experiences, and there are breaks in consciousness every time we sleep. Intersubjectivity is even more ethereal than the former 2. Our mind is like an ant colony. The colony emerges from the collective simple actions of each ant. No one ant is critical besides the queen, and even she can be replaced. Your neurons die off slowly as we age, but the brain adapts its structure to retain performance. Just like ants follow rules of behavior, so do neurons. By carrying out simple rules, swarms of insects can solve complex problems with swarm intelligence. The neurons and neural circuits can compete and cooperate to solve complex problems. Similar theories of mind are proposed by Society of Mind and the Thousand Brains theory of intelligence. The biological makeup of who we are conflicts with the common sense intuition of identity. Don't you have a name and a sense of self? Wouldn't you say you are the same person as you were 7 years ago or when you were 7 years old? What you are is an emergent phenomena arising from the activity of your body. The electrical and chemical activity is like a storm in your skull. There are neural circuits whose pattern of activity give rise to what we feel and do. What we consider to be the I is really a small simulation on top of and separate from most of the activity in your body. The closest we get to who we are is a pattern of activity, our consciousness, which provides us a coherent story of ourselves. The story can change drastically and be forgotten. The most important factor in answering yes to the question of, are you the same as you are before, is the feeling of trust and certainty of who we are. Not the truth, but the feeling of truth. Joscha Bach gives many talks on the computational theory of mind, with a still from his presentation shown here. You are a story the brain tells itself. Your brain holds on to the questions of who, what, where, when, how, why, and continually answers them, which creates our experience of ourselves. When we can't solve a problem by instinct or past experience, it arises to the level of consciousness. The truth is, our sense of self is evolutionarily advantageous. Humans have a unique power within the animal kingdom to identify each other distinctly by our faces. This is one ability which allows us to build complex societies while locally keeping track of who each one of us is. Now, a quick aside is, of course, we're in the consciousness wars right now, as they like to say. There's the global space theory of intelligence. I definitely fall on the side that consciousness and intelligence is far more computational. There's also the integrated information theory side. And, science experiments, we're going to see which one comes out. Maybe they're a mix of.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, please consider checking out the full video and the series linked in the description.